should think this a goal, but that the white bearded fellow speaks it. Knavery cannot hide himself in such reverence. The theme of our play is that rich people are more influential. This can be seen when Leonato, Don Pedro, and Claudio are all talking about how Beatrice is in love with Benedict. Benedict is hiding behind some bushes while the three of them talk in the courtyard, and Leonato is more influential to Benedict because he is rich. This can be seen when Benedict specifically mentions that he trusts Leonato because he is rich.
Hey, how's everybody doing tonight? Welcome back to the show. Tonight on Fact or Whack, we're going to be talking about Shakespeare. Now, our contestants tonight, we got Robin Banks and Amin Shed. Alright, let's get right down to business. Our first statement, Shakespeare was struck by lightning. Now, is this a fact or whacked?
Now that one's a fact. According to my calculations, that statement is gonna have to be whack.
The correct answer was whacked. Amin Shed, you are correct.
Dang flabbit.
Alright, question number 2. Is it a fact or whack that Shakespeare's skull was stolen from his grave by grave robbers?
No one would ever do that, man. That one's whack. According to my extensive research, this one is definitely a fact.
The correct answer was fact. Amin Shed, you got that right. Robin Banks, I'm sorry, that is not whacked. Alright, number 3. Shakespeare weighed over 400 pounds. Is this a fact or is this whack?
That one's definitely a fact. After compiling all of my extensive evidence, that one is whack.
Alright, once again, Robin Banks, you are not correct. It is actually whack. Amin Shed, you got it right. Alright, Amin Shed, congratulations, you have won. Thank you guys, that's about all we have time for tonight. This has been Fact or Whacked.
1, 2, 3.
Okay, so start off, Act 2, Scene 3. Benedict thinks he's never going to fall in love with a woman unless his standards are perfectly met, which, funny enough, all the standards actually meet up with Beatrice. He goes on about this whole thing. He's like, I want her to be rich, wise, virtuous, fair, mild, you get it, and all those things are what Beatrice is. Then Don Pedro, Leonato, and Claudio enter into the courtyard, and so Benedict sees this and he quickly runs behind the bushes, the arbor. And then Don Pedro notices this and he's like, do you see where he hit himself? And so they start talking and they decide that they're going to play with him, alright? So they start talking about how Beatrice loves him. And Benedict, meanwhile, is sitting there with his chair trying to get it to open up. And he's like listening to their conversation. He's like, is this true? And they start talking about how Beatrice will never actually admit to loving him. And Leonato says that she will never say that he loves him. And that's her torment. They talk about how Beatrice wrote a love letter to Benedict and won't give it to him. And Claudio goes, no, you talk of a sheet of paper, a letter your daughter told us of. That's the love letter. Eventually, they decide to leave, and Benedict is alone in the bushes again, and he thinks to himself, he's like, this can be no trick, the conference was sadly born. In other words, he thinks that they didn't know he was there and that they were talking about this, and they didn't know that he was listening in. And then eventually, Don Pedro, Leonato, and Claudio send Beatrice to go get Benedict for dinner as sort of a trick. And so, Beatrice comes out, and she's like, what's up, it's time for dinner, and Benedict is like acting all weird and stuff, because he knows that she loves him. And that's pretty much the end of the scene right there. So
in Act 2, Scene 3, there are 4 main characters: Don Pedro, Benedict, Claudio, and Leonato. Don Pedro is the prince who trusts easily, is kind and generous, and since he trusts easily, that causes basically the whole plot of the play. Claudio is a war hero and is Benedict's apprentice. Leonato is rich, which makes him really influential in the scene, and he's Don Pedro's friend and Beatrice's uncle. And there's Benedict, who used to date Beatrice and basically gets baited the entire scene because Don Pedro, Claudio, and Leonato all convince him that Beatrice is in love with him.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more.
Just